What's going on, everyone? Welcome. Before I start this video, I just want to say I got a major sinus. I've been having major sinus problems, allergies. So if you see a lot of cuts through this video, it's me stopping to cough and, do whatever I got to do. So if you see watery eyes, I'm just like, it's been a week now and it's just getting on my nerves. But anyhow, guys, if you're new here, thank you for being here. If you want to subscribe to the channel, I appreciate it. Join Discord. That link is in the description below. Now, this is 98% driven from Discord anymore. So guys, 600 plus members over there helping you out. If you're a new selector, you're in the right place. If you want to give me a thumbs up, I really appreciate it. And if you guys want to donate, I appreciate that as well. Now, I've been talking about Venmo. I know you guys get sick of hearing about this, but I have to try to help my channel. The first time I put this up there, the first week, I had 3 donations, and that was about 4 months ago, and I haven't had anything since. And now I had 2 more donations last week. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate that. I'm very transparent with what I make on this channel. And then I got to pay taxes at the end of the year. So March, we just finished March. I made $134.11. Now, I was making up around $200 a month when I first got monetized, and for some reason it just went down. Like I said, guys, I get frustrated because my view time, watch time, my subscribers keep increasing, but my revenue keeps going down. So donations are much appreciated. Like I said, I got to pay taxes all the time. I put out about maybe 8 videos a month, and I put a lot of hours into those videos, and it's just, to me, it's not worth it. But you guys are helping me push through with donations, so I really appreciate that. Now, today's video, we're going to go over different variables of why your warehouse standard could be a lot different from another person's warehouse standard. So if you're making a 250% at one warehouse and you want to another, I always come on. Now, we don't talk about this often, and I'm going to tell you why I think it's important, because I come on and say, I know for a fact, if you're throwing a 250 at your warehouse, that you're probably only going to do like a 130 at our warehouse. And I get backlash from that, but I'm going to go over different variables and why. And now, why is it important? Because when we have new selectors come onto Discord and they've been at their place for 7-8 weeks and they are only making 105%. I don't want them getting discouraged by seeing other people post on there. I'm at a 208 for the week. I'm at a 198 for the week. I'm at at some ridiculously high percentage. So I want you guys to know that there is a lot of different variables that go in from one warehouse to the other. So do not ever base your percentage off of another person's percentage at a different building. That's not even at the same company as you, just because they're posting that over on Discord. So with that being said, let's go over it, guys. All right, so I put this together. Now I'm going to go over every single one of these things. Now, I'm sure there's more options. So what I want you guys to do, and I know we have a lot of Discord members that worked at multiple warehouses. Let me know if I'm right. Let me know in the comment section below. When you're at one warehouse, were you throwing 150%, and then when you went out to the other warehouse, you couldn't even make 110%. The first thing I want to talk about is travel time. And when I mean travel time, I mean from the last pick location that you selected to the next pick location. Now, some warehouses are only 5-6 aisles, 10 aisles, and they go up and down every aisle. They never jump from one side to the other. Well, if you're in a bigger warehouse, our dry goods building is a perfect example of it. You could be all the way in 20 aisle and you have to go over to 56 aisle, or you have to go to 79 aisle. So you're traveling half the warehouse. Well, when you start traveling half the warehouse from the last pick location to the next pick location, you can get traffic, you can hit traffic. Your cases start falling off. Now, I don't mean cases falling over like dropping your pallet, but when you're traveling a long ways, your pallet starts shaking and you start losing cases. So that's another thing that could just cause time. So you could bank time on this if none of this stuff happens. But if all this stuff is happening, it definitely could cause you to waste time. Cases falling, and then you're stopping to wrap your pallets because you don't want your cases to fall off from one location to the next. But if you're in a tight area and you're just bam, 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 up 5, 6, 7 aisles, I think you're going to gain more time that way because you're just nonstop picking. But if you're traveling from one area to the other part of the warehouse, I think that's a big difference. All right, guys, the next one, drops, chase shorts. All right, whatever you call them at your warehouse, that's when there's an empty slot and you zero it out. Now at our, so how many empty slots do you have in your warehouse? Are you a warehouse that has a lot of empty slots and you're scratching a ton of stuff? And then same order or separate. Now, at our perishable building, when we're done, we have to go back and go get our drops. So everything up here comes into factor here. If I'm traveling through the warehouse to go get all my shorts, then I could be dropping cases, and it just could be a pain in the butt. It's going to take me more time to do that, so I might lose time doing that. But if it's a separate order, like at our dry goods, you could crush them. All right, because our warehouse is big, and if I have one chase short over there and another one over here, well, it might give me 7 minutes to go get 2 cases, and I'm going to get in 3 minutes. So I'm banking 4 minutes on that order. And if they kick out a lot of them all at once, you could crush them. So if you're in a warehouse that has a lot of zeroed out cases, guys, that's what drops and chase shorts are. If you knew, if I go to a pick slot, there's nothing there, I say 0. Well, I got to come back and get that after it gets replenished. And like I said, if you're doing it on separate orders, you do like 5, 6 of them in a row, you could really crush some time on those. So that's another variable to look at. Another one is pallet construction. What do I mean by that is just cube size. I've seen people post on Discord time and time again, and their pallets are never over like a 45 cube or 50 cube. Well, if you're in a warehouse where all your pallets are small, you're crushing them. You don't have to worry about building a more stable pallet and having a 60 or 5 or a 70 or 75 cube pallet. All right. You're just worried about building partially good to get a good pallet out the door, a decent pallet out the door, and you can crush those. When you have smaller orders and you do not have to worry about cubing out your pallets, you can crush them. So if you're in a warehouse that has all small orders, you're going to crush your times. Guys, another thing, zone stacking. To me, zone stacking is going to take more time. You get this at Cisco and stuff like that. To me, it's going to take more time. So maybe your time standards are going to be a little lower. Weight of cases. There might be a warehouse that is just full of small cases that don't have any weight to them. And then you go to like a freezer warehouse where you're just getting a lot of weight. So the weight of the cases definitely comes into play. All right, guys, the next thing I want to talk about is training. How well are they training you for the job? All right. At our work, you get 5 days, and if you need more, they give you more. Our job is real lenient about training people as much as they need them to be trained. We actually just trained someone for 2 full weeks at our warehouse. So guys, it's totally on the trainee. We want people to succeed at our warehouse, so we give them the days. There's people on here that say 1 day. They have a trainer for 1 day, then they're on their own. Well, do you really think that person's going to succeed in the warehouse? Do you really think that you could be on month 4 and you're probably just making 100% because you were not properly trained. So training is a huge thing. If you're at our warehouse and you get a good trainer that's with you every step of the way for 5 days, you're going to succeed a lot better than someone at a different warehouse that's getting 1 day of training. So that's a big deal. And the trainer itself. If you're getting a trainer that just doesn't care and they want the rate and they're putting no effort into training, once again, guys, you're not going to be capitalizing from a good trainer. So that's going to definitely play a part in you making your percentages. And a big thing, guys, workers per shift. Now this goes for, if you have a bigger warehouse to a smaller warehouse and traffic areas, you can only turn in so much delay time. I know at our warehouse, if you're repetitive on certain things, they just start denying your delay time. So how heavily traffic is your warehouse? And that all depends on how many people are working on the shift. The equipment, when there's a lot of people working on the shift and you're one of the bottom selectors, well, guess what you're getting? You're getting the more garbage equipment to work on. So that jack's going to be moving at a slower pace, might be pulling off to one side. The equipment can get really crappy for new selectors. So that has a big part in it. Now, then you got some warehouses that have all new equipment. So the equipment is definitely a factor on how well you are going to be throwing on the floor. Another thing, guys, is hours. You might be part-time at your warehouse. All right. You might be getting 4 to 6 hours a day, and somebody else is working 10 to 12 hours a day. Well, obviously their standard is going to be higher than your standard at your warehouse because they are working more hours. So they're having they're having more time to make those, to bring up their standards. All right. It's just, it's just common sense right there. So if someone else is working 12 hours and you're working 6 hours, obviously they're going to have more time to build up their standards. So that might be another reason why they're getting so high. All right, guys, the last thing I want to talk about is, and the most important, is the system. The age of the system. Now, I've been at my work for 25 years. We've only on our second system. We had the Dallas system, which was pretty easy. And then we have the Manhattan system. Now, back in the day, if I had to guess, I would say that our top selectors, which I was one of them, I'd say about 135, 140 for the week is what we could throw. But we never threw that because we didn't have incentive money back in the day. So we burned our time at the end of the week. And, that's that, so we didn't really focus on, what could we do for the week. Now, with this new system at our new warehouse, or at the Manhattan system, which is still like over 20 years old probably, guys, our top selectors that throw hard throughout the whole entire course is probably 130% for the week on daylight, where the more congested is. Now, if you come to 3 to 11 and throw your butt off, maybe you could hit a 140, 150 for the week, but that is with nobody in your way. Daylight, top selectors are at like 130 for the week, and that's with incentive money. So that is a huge part of warehouse to warehouse basis. Time per case, guys, when the engineers first implemented your system, they come in, all those engineers come in, you might get 5 seconds to throw each case, where another warehouse might get 10 seconds to throw each case, or even 8 seconds. So that's a big factor. How much time per case is in there for you to throw at your warehouse. Travel time, I put that in there again because it could be a downfall for all the things I named up here, and it could be a bonus because if you're constantly traveling from multiple parts of the warehouse and they're giving you 4 minutes to get from one part to the next, and you get there in 2 and you get multiple orders like that, well, you're going to bank a lot of time on those orders. And the delays, I'm not talking about delays being held up in the owl. I am talking about the system delays, little natural things, just constantly that T5 is picking up, stupid crap, or it's cutting out, or it actually shuts off on you, logs you out, or it just stops talking. Or if you're on a forklift and the RF unit keeps cutting out for you, or if you're selecting with a gun and the gun keeps freezing on you, and you have to reboot the gun, or even your wrist thing, guys. There's so many different variables. Do you have a headset where maybe it's smoother selecting compared to scanning something on your arm all the time? Because we used to hand scanners before, and maybe you're stickering your pallets. Guys, there's just so many different things. I could go on and on and on. And I put a survey out asking you guys, is your forklift times correlated with your selection times? Meaning, if I'm on a forklift for 4 hours and I'm doing 120% and they cut me into selection because they're cutting forklifts, and I go to selection, am I allowed to take my 120% from my forklift and burn it on my selection time, or am I allowed to increase it for my selection time? A lot of you answered no, you can't do that. Well, we can do that at our warehouse, and we still cannot get those times 130, 140. I'm telling you, it's hard to throw in our warehouse. I promise you, I am not doubting that anybody can't come and crush it for a week, but to maintain a 240 or a 150, 160 week after week after week, you ain't doing it. So guys, I'm telling you right now, percentages from one warehouse to the next, there's a ton. I could probably make another video on this. There's so many variables. So don't base, I'm a new selector, I come in, I'm throwing for a few months. Don't base my 105% after 6 months over to someone else that's been there for 6 months at a different warehouse throwing a 200%. Guys, there's so many different factors. I hope this video cleared up a lot of what I'm talking about whenever I say this. And like I said, guys, if you work at multiple warehouses, which I know a lot of our Discord members have, post in the comment section below where you at one warehouse and could crush it, and then you went to another warehouse and you were struggling. I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.